I'm going to tell you a little bit about the International Committee and its activities, and I thought I'd start with who the International Committee is. So there are, I think, 14 names up there. If anyone else is interested in joining, please see me later, because we're always interested in new people to become involved. The objectives of the International Committee are up there. You can see the first one, to provide for international help. While our focus is more particularly the Pacific, we obviously provide help on a global basis, and I'll mention a couple of instances where we've done that. But the second part of it is a better future for the Pacific by getting involved in projects. And we've done a few in the past, and really what we're trying to achieve is, as it says there, to leave skills, structures and connections that enrich the projects that we're involved in, and in particular to have enduring benefits. The things that we've done in the last year or so, in terms of aid, we had obviously Vanuatu and Nepal, and in both those instances money was donated for ERKs, emergency response kits, which I think perhaps some of you may have seen, but very well received. And in the case of Nepal, we also made a donation to Shelterbox New Zealand. In terms of our projects, one of the things that we were developing in the early part of this year and latterly last year was a trade training project in the hospitality sector in Samoa. And we were going to work with the Australian Pacific Technical College, taking perhaps a small number of their students and bringing them down to New Zealand for trade training in hotels and other hospitality areas here in New Zealand. Unfortunately, that is currently on hold because we ran into a slight difficulty with visa requirements for the trainees coming down. I think a bit more work may eventually unblock that. I'll mention Sky Hydrant, which is a water purification system just at the end, but our club, Rotary Club of Wellington, is the New Zealand representative for disaster aid and who sponsor these Sky Hydrant systems that can be made available and put in where required overseas. What I particularly want to talk about in the next couple of minutes is the Samoa Garden Project. This started with a project that was carried out in Putasi, which is the on the right-hand island of Upolu. It was a project carried out by the Tyndall Foundation and supported by Volunteer Service Abroad. And what they got involved in was growing fresh salad vegetables for the hotel and restaurant sector in Samoa. And this proved to be very successful. And so the International Committee then got involved to develop a second one on Lalamalava, which is on the island of Savai. And we are currently developing this with the help of Karori Rotary and, again, Volunteer Service Abroad. What we're providing is obviously some money to support this, and what they need is money for the preparation of the land, the building of shade and tunnel houses, and setting up their company. Well, they're in fact forming a trust. The money is coming from the High Commissioner of Samoa, 18,000, our club about 7,500, Rotary 1,500, and we hope to still yet get a district grant of maybe a couple of thousand to support it as well. Again, it's been supported by the Tyndall Foundation, who have been paying for the person who has been doing the business plan and setting it up. And VSA New Zealand are currently recruiting 2 people, a horticultural advisor and a business advisor, to go up there for 2 years to support this particular project. And we're working with the Rotary Club of Apia in terms of handling some of the payments. In the top 2 photographs show work that was going on in July, preparing the ground, and then the bottom 2 setting up the shade houses in August. And then there's another photograph of the propagation and packing shed and water facilities, and very important, the office to keep track of how the business is going. So this is all proceeding, and right at the moment they expect to be planting out in the next couple of weeks the salad vegetables. And the great thing about this is that they about 3 or 4 weeks after they're planted, they get their first crop. So it's a very fast return. The benefit to the village on an annual basis should be around, and these are New Zealand dollars, $20,000 of wages, and at the end of the day a cash surplus of 22,000. So again, what we're looking for is leaving enduring benefits through this project, as well as the skills and structures as well. So that's just a very quick overview of our Samoa Garden project and part of the work of the International Committee. And I just want to finish with one slide which is about, which shows the sky hydrant, which is a water purification system. And within our club we have a champion recently appointed, and I think there's going to be a presentation on this in November, so watch this space. Thank you.